Hello, heroes of Arcasia. Welcome back to another episode of Patch Notes with Henry. Today we're going to cover the Chaos Rising update, which is our May major content update. This month is going to be a little bit of a step back from previous months. With Thaemine coming out, we have a huge raid that we know a lot of players are still progressing through, still challenging, especially Gate 3 and 4 in hard mode. There's still a lot of things to be earned, conquered, and the Transcendent system to be progressed through. So for this month, we wanted to take kind of a step back from those hardcore raids and just have some opportunities for exploration, focus on quality of life updates to make everyday life in Arcasia better. And yeah, that's the big focus of this month. So let's dive right into it. All right, so the first piece of content, kind of bookending the Thaemine stuff we were just talking about, is the Thaemine After Story. Players who have cleared Thaemine hard will be able to experience the Darkness Legion Commander's epilogue in a new story. The quest Shadow of the Moon can be acquired from Knight Oscar in Luterra Castle. Make sure to pay him a visit to learn more about what has happened with Thaemine after his recent assault on Arcasia. There's going to be a couple prerequisite quests that you need to complete first. First of all, as I just mentioned, you're going to have to clear Thaemine hard mode gate 4 at least once before testing it out. The Voldest World quest Adento's Legacy, and the Thaemine Prelude quest, the Red Mist After Dusk. Once you've done all those, you can go experience that new story beat. So the next one is going to be Trial Hanumatan. It's a new take on Trial Guardians. And to give you a little bit of a lore backstory for those who missed the roadmap, 500 years ago, Guardian Hanumatan crushed enemies in the battle for the Site of Light. When the war ended, Hanumatan went into a deep slumber, and he awoke only after sensing chaotic energies possessing Arcasia, and has concluded that humans were the actual threats to Arcasia. Hanumatan needs to be stopped before his wrath destroys Arcasia. And with this new Trial Guardian, it's up to you to do so with precision and speed. So the new take on the Trial Guardians is going to arrive in May for those that want to test their skills and speed against this powered up version of the Guardian. This one's going to work a little bit different than previous iterations, as it actually is going to give gold rewards rather than just the vanity things like titles and achievements that you could earn from previous Trial Guardians. You're going to be able to challenge him in normal mode at item level 1600 and hard mode at 1630. And you're going to be able to go in just with your character's normal build. You're not going to have to set anything up in the Book of Coordination this time or have different balance adjustments applied when you go in. It's not equalized. So you can hop in with your friends and try and conquer. And if you're able to just jump right into hard mode at 1630, you're going to be able to get all the rewards that you want from normal mode as well, so you don't have to go in and play both modes. And yeah, it should be a fun little 4-player activity. Earn some gold, test your skills. Could be good practice if you're still working on, maximizing your damage or figuring out how to conquer some of those harder gates in Thaemine as well. So going back to the rewards, the gold rewards can be obtained once per roster. And then on top of that, there's going to be a new achievement, title, and trophy, and new sections in the Party Finder as well. So the next piece of content is another fun piece of just kind of adventuring content, exploring the world of Arcasia. We have an update to Music Box of Memories. It's going to be updated with 6 new stories that you're going to be able to uncover. And if you've played through the previous ones, you kind of know what you're getting into. If you don't, these stories are focused more on the everyday lives and everyday citizens in Arcasia. You're going to get to meet and connect with some of the NPCs around the world that you might have seen or heard saying voice lines out in the open world, but you don't really know that much about. So it's kind of a fun, different take on things. And of course, there will be some new rewards that you're able to earn with those new collectibles coming into the game. We've also done some overhauls to the UI and the way it's showcased in game to just kind of make it a bit cooler to look at. So next up, continuing on with that theme of adventure, we have a new adventure island, Cruel Toy Castle Island. You probably recognize this from the holiday event that we had in game, but it's now being added into the game as an adventure island that you can go to earn some rewards. It's going to appear in the southern seas of Shoeshire, And players can enter using their Procyon's compass, and will find an ominous paper when disembarking that will send them on a curious quest. It's going to add some new rewards and things that players can earn, such as new achievements, titles, Makoko Seed, the Island Soul, and a new toy. For this month, the store update is going to be focused around the Magical Enchanter collection. These ones were designed to evoke 80s and 90s anime style, where magical girls and boys went out to school during the day and moonlighted as magical beings at night. So let's take a look at them. All right, next up, let's talk about events. A couple small updates before we get into some of the bigger new events. But the Arcasia Grand Prix event is going to end, making way for new events and a new event shop. Also, the new daily login rewards and a new Fever Time event calendar have been added, so be on the lookout for those in-game. All right, let's talk about one of the bigger pieces of content arriving in this update, which is an event. It's the new Chaos Assault event. It's the first part of the Curzon Prelude, which is leading up to the full continent releasing next month in June. So players will need to head to Mount Zagoras, where chaos has taken hold, and defeat hordes of enemies by entering distorted chaos rifts that have opened up all across Mount Zagoras. There's going to be a special suppression meter for the event that increases as more enemies are defeated and resets every day at 10 a.m. server time. Defeating enemies is going to fill up the suppression meter that will grant special powders that can be exchanged for special rewards at the event shop. You're also going to be able to earn a special new drop called Wishful Embers. And the difficulty of the field is going to vary depending on the character's item level. But the rewards, the type of rewards, are the same despite the item level of the person going in. To touch on Wishful Embers a little bit more, they're very similar to Fate Embers, but have a different loot table. Drops include silver, epic and legendary cards, including selectors if you're lucky enough, card XP, sailing coins, and epic and legendary elixirs, and then also processed chaos stones to improve either weapon or armor quality. So you're going to be able to earn those and the typical powders, that's kind of like the event coin for this event, and be able to spend those at the event shop, which will have some extra special items, including a mount, stronghold structures, and all the normal, very impactful honing materials and other things that you've come to expect on a monthly basis. So be a lot of great stuff in there to help you push towards the events of Curzon happening next month in June and the arrival of Echidna. All right, this next event that we're going to go over is new. It's something that we just kind of thought up in the past couple months in collaboration with Smilegate, and we're calling it the Endgame Acceleration event. With the faster content cadence in the West, we wanted to reward endgame players with additional materials to help them prepare for both Thaemine Hard if they're still moving towards the harder difficulties and later gates there, and also the upcoming Echidna Kazaros raid. This event is structured to grant players clearing the Ivory Tower Abyssal Dungeon with a bunch of elixirs, and the people clearing Thaemine with additional Transcendence materials. And we added some gold into the event since we know players have been using a lot of gold on both of those systems as well. We're super excited to see players continue to power up their characters to combat these newer threats, and thought that this was a good way of giving some additional rewards and helping speed up some of that progression with the faster content cadence. So this event is going to last until July 17th for players to earn all those rewards. And the way it functions is in Ivory Tower, there's a section for both normal and hard mode. We did this so that players that are already playing hard mode don't have to go back to normal mode. And then there's an additional segment for just hard mode. The normal mode and hard mode section for Ivory Tower is going to give the purple elixirs along with the ductility catalysts every couple gates that you clear. And then there's some gold that's woven in there as well. The same goes for hard mode, but there's going to be more ductility catalysts, and it'll give legendary instead of epic elixirs. And then moving over to Thaemine, that will apply to both normal and hard mode, and the way it works is every couple of gates you clear, you will get some dark fire, some ancient sound zones to kind of progress through the Transcendent system. And once again, there's going to be gold layered in as you kind of move through that track. It's going to apply to the whole roster, so characters that are clearing those gates will give you progress, but you can only claim each reward once, but you can just kind of choose where you want those rewards. All in all, the event's going to give a ton of elixirs, a ton of dark fire, and a ton of ancient soundstones, along with I think a max of 20k gold if you kind of fill out that whole track. All of the gates and specific rewards for clearing those gates are listed in the written patch notes. So if you want to kind of dive in and see firsthand what the rewards are going to be, go check it out. It's all listed out there. So the next section that we're going to just kind of briefly talk through is actually a huge chunk of QOL changes. There's a lot of things that are really in the weeds and very specific, but are pretty important. So rather than go through all of those in depth in the video, I'm going to read through the different categories that we have. And if one of those categories sounds like something that is interesting to you or that you'd like to dive deeper on, I'd encourage you to go kind of read through that line by line in the release notes. But it's a ton of words, multi-thousand, so reading through it here or talking through it would take a really long time. But let's dive in, and hopefully you can maybe pause the video, go read a section, and come back if something's interesting to you. So the first one is rewards. There's been some restructuring to how loot auctions work in both Oreja Preserva and the Argos raid. The next section is combat, skill, and character updates. There are some QOL changes to transformation characters, QOL updates to a few other characters, and also some improvements across the board for combat, skills, and some visual updates there as well. The next section is UI and settings. There are both some new settings added and a bunch of UI updates to make things smoother and operate a little bit better. Stronghold systems. There's a ton of stronghold changes. If you're really big into the stronghold scene and love customizing, would highly recommend go checking that out. They kind of redistributed and changed how some of the point system works, so you might be able to decorate kind of differently or better, or switch things up at this point. So recommend that if you're a big fan of the strongholds. We have new hairstyles coming in, which are pretty cool. Let's flash a picture of those up on the screen right now so you can take a look. As you can see, there are 2 new hairstyles for male characters and 2 new hairstyles for female characters. Next section is items and NPCs. There were some changes to some of the ways that Adventure Tome items work, other items work in the game. Pretty nitty gritty, but if you want to dive in, feel free, go for it. There were some updates to quests and the Arcasia Tour. I'd recommend go reading through those as well if you're still progressing through the Arcasia Tour. The next section is MVP system. There's a few recalculations and new medals added to that system. And then there's a big kind of general or miscellaneous section down at the bottom that has a ton of other updates in it. So if you want to dive into those, highly recommend reading through that big QOL section in the full release notes. Well, thanks for joining us for another episode of Patch Notes. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch through it, get excited about the new content coming, or provide feedback on what you like or what you'd like to see more of. We have some new events coming in and new skins coming in, so I'm sure we'll see a ton of comments about those. And I think we wanted to do a community question specifically on the new Western exclusive skins. Which class looks the best? Which ones are you guys most excited for? Let us know in the comments. Would love to see which one of those is your favorite. And also for the new events coming into the West, not a full community question, and I'm going kind of off script right now, but let us know what you think about the design of that event. If it's helpful for you, we want to make sure that players are progressing through kind of this accelerated content cadence and feel like they're being supported. So let us know in the comments as well. Once again, like and subscribe. In addition to the comments, lets us know that you appreciate this kind of content and it's something that we should support heading forward. So if you can do that, if you support it, that'd be great. Thanks again, and I'll see you in Arcasia.